The whole world turned into mechs under their names. Whatever car you owned, that's the mech you became. And your fate depended on your car's condition. Some turned into hot sports cars. Some became tough off-roaders. And all animals were turned into steel beasts. They became metal monsters that bite anyone on sight. As someone broke, I only turned into a tiny e-scooter. I barely survived for 10 years, dodging tons of steel beasts. But that weak start still got me killed by a bigger truck. But now I woke up with all my memories, one day before the Mecha apocalypse began. So I took all my savings right away and headed to a heavy-duty truck dealership. The salesman rushed over as soon as he saw me. My eyes were locked on a big truck in the corner. Red body, 4 meters tall, 12 meters long. Wheels 4 in front, 8 in back. And each one almost as tall as an adult. Even a quick look packs a real punch. I want that truck. Ha, you have great taste. This is our brand new Balong model. It has a V8 engine, weighs 10 tons. Hauling 30 or 40 tons is no problem at all. Top speed is 110 kilometers per hour. The price is $680,000. Minimum down payment is $160,000. I'll take it. The salesman hurried off to start the paperwork. I wasn't nervous at all. As long as the title transfer is done, tomorrow I'll be a Mecha driver. Forget about paying off any loans. After getting the truck, I drove it straight to a repair shop. Boss, weld a big knife for me. 8 meters long, 1 meter wide. Sharpen just one side, make it open edge. I need it today. The boss was about to kick me out when he saw that. I tossed 30,000 right in his face. He instantly changed his attitude and started right away. The boss got to work immediately. Worked until 10 p.m. and finally finished. The knife weighs 800 jin. It's shaped like a Tang Dynasty broadsword. Straight blade. Angled tip. I put the knife in the truck bed and ate a huge meal. Then I laid down in the truck to sleep. Quietly waited for the Mecha era to begin. In my dream, I felt myself falling. Dropping into endless darkness. Couldn't move my arms or legs. And couldn't speak. No idea how long passed. When I opened my eyes, what I heard was the creak of machinery. I looked down and found I'd become the king truck. Man and truck, truly one. I am the truck. Then, with a single thought, the wheels began to roll. Brakes, headlights, all controlled by my mind now. Balong roared like a machine. First, the cab lifted up. The driveshaft rotated. Wheels shrank. Huge robot legs appeared. Torso, head, and arms all transformed. In just a few seconds, I changed from a truck to a towering transformer. Shining, brand new red, with a long sword on my back. So this is power. Last time, I was just a little e-scooter. Never knew what real power felt like. Now I'm totally fired up. I can feel just how strong I've become now. My body's as tall as a 5-story building. But I move with zero clumsiness. While I was getting used to my body, I suddenly heard someone screaming for help far away. Other mech drivers started to wake up all around. And mutant steel beasts showed up too. Even pet dogs at home doubled in size. Now fully metal. Not recognizing anyone. Attacking all humans. Kanglong Empire, 1 billion people. On average, each family of 5 has a car. So max 200 million Mecha drivers. Meaning 800 million are still normal people. But how many animals are there? No one has a clue. But one thing's for sure. They outnumber mech drivers by hundreds, thousands. Even 10,000 times. Right then, mech drivers all rushed home. Battling steel animals jumping out along the way. I looked back and saw a 2-meter-tall, one-armed mech driver fighting a metal dog. That guy had to be a 3-wheeler. The dog's got one of its legs in its jaws. Sparks flying everywhere. Looks like it's done for. So I shrank down into truck form, hit the gas, and charged right at the 1-meter-tall steel dog. I ran it straight over, crushing it in half. The 3-wheeler was sweating bullets in shock. Thanks, man. This place isn't safe. You should get out of here, quick. I said that, then transformed back into my 15-meter robot form. Picked up the metal dog on the ground, and found a green crystal in its chest. I threw it in my mouth. It's the dog's power core. It replaced the original heart. Also, it's the only way mechs can evolve. Eat crystals to make yourself stronger. Pretty soon, everyone will know this. So I need to level up fast while I can. I hurried toward downtown, because there's a zoo there, filled with big animals. When I got near the old main street, I suddenly saw a pack of steel wolves, each over 2 meters tall, standing with a bunch of mech drivers. 7 or 8 steel wolves, and more than 20 mech drivers. I instantly switched to battle mode, and charged at the wolves. My size and brutal skills showed the others what real force is. In under 3 minutes, all the steel wolves were dead. I grabbed their power crystals and swallowed them. A warm rush flowed through me. I felt myself getting even stronger. My armor is way tougher too. A few minutes later, I reached downtown. All I saw were mech and beast wrecks. Tigers, bears, elephants, every beast around. And on the mech side, a squad of yellow trucks. All heavy duty, at least 10 meters tall. One had drill arms. One was a bulldozer with huge fists. But the one that really stood out was a towering 20-meter tall yellow giant. That's a mining dump truck. In this city, I can already guess who bought it. In the last timeline,
He was famous as the land war god, the Great Wang Quan.
if I don't get revenge now, when will I? I saw him locked in battle with a 7 or 8 meter long crocodile. I instantly drew my sword and rushed over. Hey bro, I'm here to help. A flash of a white blade. The croc flew 4 or 5 meters through the air. Before it hit the ground, Huang Quan saw the red blur dive in and punch right through its gut. Then he grabbed something and ate it. Score, big win. That crystal was as big as my fist. I smiled, rubbing my belly in satisfaction. After that, my truck body looked even shinier. This crystal was bigger than all the Volf crystals combined. Seeing how fierce I was, Huang Quan said, "Let's clear out the rest of these beasts. Then we'll talk." I joined the battle too, but I wasn't really planning to fight. Right now, only I know that the power crystals can be upgraded. No one else is aware yet. Before I arrived, this group was already fighting the steel beasts. There are like 7 or 8 huge animal corpses on the ground. No way I'm leaving these for nothing.
Guys,
Thanks. I'll help you once I finish absorbing this. I kept thinking to myself while I started to throw. After taking in all the crystals, my aura changed again. My red body turned even darker. The little exposed parts from before vanished. Altogether, I looked even tougher and simpler. I'm coming, guys. 1 dash. My fist made a string of air explosions, then slammed hard into the elephant. A 12 tons elephant was knocked down with 1 punch. Huang Quan saw the mech get floored, and the elephant looked shocked. What are you waiting for? Aim for the heart. While Huang Quan was still in shock, he went full power again, and jumped back into the fight. The elephant had more and more fist marks on its body. Blade wounds even broke its tusks. Huang Quan hammered the elephant's chest dozens of times. It looked like he was about to break through. I stabbed it through from behind, then told him, "Go help the others first. Leave this to me." Then I punched through the elephant's heart, grabbed the crystal, and swallowed it in less than a second. That was a pretty good haul. Then, without a word, I rushed to the next battlefield. In my previous life, the mech folks knew the real use of power crystals would be found next month. So I'm totally set on milking Huang Quan for all he's got. During this disaster, basically what you drive means how strong you are. No matter how badass a bike is. Even evolving a lot, how strong can it get? My heavy truck is already top tier. Power-wise, normal vehicles would spend a lifetime to reach my base level. But compared to Wang Quan, I am nothing. This guy is insane. Who could survive his punch from a 100 tons mining truck? He's totally at the peak. Worldwide, almost no one can match him. After even more upgrades, who could possibly be his match? Half an hour later, the battle ended. Huang Quan yelled, "Everyone fall back." And then I said, "You guys go first. I'll cover the rear." Huang Quan was moved to tears. "Take care, brother. We'll wait for you up ahead." Huang Quan left with the rest of his crew. I instantly showed my true colors. The steel beast was gone, but there were still a few corpses I hadn't checked. So I started cleaning up the battlefield. After swallowing the crystal, the markings on my body got even clearer. It felt like a design was about to appear on my chest. Second evolution complete. My mech form looked much more refined. The tires on the back were gone. Now it was all fiery red iron. My head had facial features now. Muscles bulged out, My body had a defined waistline. I got way stronger too. But it was still not enough. Back then, to become a true mech warrior, you had to evolve at least 5 times. Only then could you barely survive the disaster, while others lack the info. I have to speed up my evolution, become a real mech warrior. Then I shifted into vehicle form, floored the gas, and chased after Huang Quan's team. I can't let go of this cash cow. After catching up with them, I noticed the vibe was super weird now. Everyone except Huang Quan looked troubled. From their chat, I found out Huang Quan wanted to save a friend, but no one wanted to go with him. Everyone saw how rough that last fight was. Brother Wang, it's not that we won't help, but we've got families depending on us. We just can't take such a big risk. Huang Quan started to panic inside. He yelled, another 50 grand each. If you die, your family gets $1 million. You know what kind of guy I am? Your families will get the cash, I promise. Sorry, Brother Wang. We just can't risk it with you. Those monsters are too damn strong. I'd rather not have the money than die for it. I'm not rich, but with my skills now, I should be fine getting some cash. These words made Huang Quan's crew suddenly realize something. Yeah, we're all mechs now. Even just hauling stuff for a day pays big. While Huang Quan was feeling down, I stepped forward. I'll go with you. Really? You're a true friend. Huang Quan said gratefully, but I was doing my own calculations inside. Last life, when Huang Quan went to Qingzhou, he scored a legendary weapon, a superheated giant sword. That sword made him unbeatable against anyone his level. He could even fight higher level folks. If I get that weapon first, I'll totally become a legend this time. But we only took a few steps. And Shan Huan, after the big fight, was feeling hungry and tired. This guy with a pig brain thought for a while, and figured since we're mechs now, we gotta refuel with gasoline. So, without thinking, he dragged me to a gas station, grabbed a barrel of 98 octane, and started chugging it down. But still, when he tried to walk, his stomach growled and rumbled. I almost burst my oil laughing at the scene. I told him right away, maybe you just haven't digested it yet, so you need to exercise a bit. Right then, a few steel roosters, these mechanical animals, would always swarm when they saw a mech guy. A rooster over 1 meter long was smacked down by Huang Quan like a fly. He killed it with one slap. I joked, maybe some chicken will fill you up. Then I grabbed a steel rooster and tore it apart. Huang Quan had no choice, risking his teeth on metal chicken, and started gnawing too. After downing a whole steel rooster, his hunger went down a bit. Just as he was about to share the good news with me, he saw I only pulled out the power source from the steel rooster and didn't touch the rest of it. Then, Huang Quan snapped back and cussed me out. You bastard! You fraud! Had me drinking gas for nothing? And you ate up so many power sources behind my back. No wonder you've gotten taller. Huang Quan saw I was just 15 meters this morning, and not very long either. A few big wheels were still exposed. Now, taking a closer look, I was over 16 meters tall, with bright colors, and a bulked-up body. Most of my car parts were practically gone. Looks just like a Mecha from a movie. It's pretty obvious. Power sources are like food for Autobots. Though Huang Quan was a bit annoyed, he still asked me out of curiosity. All iron beasts have them, not just iron beasts. We have them too. This crystal is like an animal's heart. It protects and strengthens the body. And the stronger the iron beast, the bigger the power source. After saying that, I stared straight at him. Now that you know these secrets, Huang, do you still want to come with me? What? You damn well ate so many of my crystals. Don't think of running until you pay me back. I laughed and led the way. I knew he wasn't afraid of being tricked, just of being tricked blindly. I'd been helping him unconditionally. Maybe that actually scared him a bit? On the way, Huang Quan asked some things about evolution. I told him everything I knew, including the black car after 5 evolutions. Looking at my chest, 3/5 of the car had already appeared. Huang Quan's face twitched at the sight. The cataclysm was getting worse. The midday sky was thick with dark clouds. No one knew that. Besides animals, even the clouds were turning to steel. Without any sunlight, plants wouldn't survive. It would get colder every single day. In a month at most, the surface will drop to -20 degrees. No power, no water. No way to stay warm. No way to grow crops. Once the food is gone, ordinary people won't last long. As for why heavy clouds don't fall, nobody knows. Someone once pierced the clouds in my past life, sending a team of elites up there, but their fate remains unknown. A few hours later, it got much darker. The clouds blocked the sun, but the sun hadn't vanished. Under the dim daylight, the city looked murky and yellow. You could barely see around you. At night it was pitch black. We drove on with our high beams. Suddenly, an electric scooter rushed out. A man was screaming and fleeing toward us. Behind him was a flood of black steel rats. It was Huan Quan's buddy Yang Fan. Huan Quan reached out and grabbed him, then turned and bolted. Man, with all those rats on us, we all knew what would happen. Before long, we reached a gas station, 50 meters behind us. The rats were still in hot pursuit. I slammed my iron fists into the ground. A huge crater opened up, and gas sprayed out like a fountain. The air reeked of gasoline. I drew my blade and threw it. The jagged blade sparked against the ground, quickly igniting the entire station. The intense heat melted most of the rats. The three of us finally escaped the city. After escaping the Mecha nest, I let Yang Fan into the car. We headed straight for the highway. Once inside, I slowed down to match Huang Quan. We chatted along the way. Soon it was completely dark. More people appeared on the roadside, all of them fleeing the city. Should we rest here? Huang Quan turned to ask me. Too many mountains here. There might be wild beasts. There's a service area 80 kilometers ahead. Let's rest there. After an hour's drive, we saw the service area. Hundreds of people were gathered. The owner was price gouging everyone. Food prices were jacked up 10 times. A normal guy would have been beaten up, but the owner was a van mecha, with a dozen truck mechas for backup. As soon as I arrived, a worker stepped up to me. "Hey, brother," he said coldly. "Gas or a room?" Seeing the new car with no plates, the guy got greedy. Yang Fan didn't mind at first. He took off his watch and handed it over. "This watch is worth 1.5 million. Take care of our 2 crews and pack us some food when we leave." However, a second later, the man pocketed the watch and claimed they only took cash. When Yang Fan tried to take it back, he was shoved away. Not only that, the man started yelling at him. Yang Fan had never met someone so bold. He was completely stunned. As the worker shouted, a group of mechas walked over. They were massive, all at least 10 meters tall. The owner showed up and shouted shamelessly, "You people! What are you doing on my new truck? Get out of there right now." Unbelievable. This time, they wanted to rob me too. A heavy truck is worth more than a van. Surrounded by 10-meter mechas, Yang Fan swallowed hard and backed away toward me. "You'd better handle this for me." Seeing how shameless they were, I didn't hold back. I rose from the ground and transformed into a mecha. After 3 evolutions, I was nearly 17 meters tall. I looked down at the tiny van, smiled and raised my foot. With a sudden crash, the van's head was crushed into its chest. Its legs snapped off. In an instant, it was just scrap metal. Then I looked at the other mechas. They turned and ran without hesitation. I leaped 7 or 8 meters forward. In seconds, I caught up to them. I threw a punch and snapped one right in half. 5 loyal mechas still remained, swearing to avenge their boss. They all charged at once. I swung my fist, following with a flying kick and knee. Finished them all in under a minute. This wasn't even a fight. It was a total slaughter. In no time at all those mechas were wiped out. The onlookers were terrified. They realized some are born at the finish line. Vehicle types make a massive difference. Early the next morning, the sound of tremors woke everyone. Dozens of tanks roared in the distance, followed by a large force of armed troops. Besides thousands of soldiers, there were thousands of ordinary people. Crowds everywhere. Can't see the end. But when I saw that, I grabbed Huang Quan and ran. At the start of the disaster, it wasn't the machine rider's world yet. The Empire still ruled. If you face a bunch of rocket launchers, tanks and attack helicopters, wouldn't you be scared? Whenever the Empire met a machine rider, they always tried to recruit them. You want freedom, huh? Try facing an anti-tank rocket launcher. When a shaped charge explodes, Tong soared past 1,000 degrees. Early phase machine riders got wrecked, blown open like a basketball-sized hole. Around noon, we reached Biling Mountain Park. This used to be a famous eco-park. It had all kinds of wolves, tigers, and leopards, and a bunch of big animals. Thanks to memories from my past life, I knew there was a lab hidden nearby. That was where Huang Quan got his superheated sword.
He'd been dying to eat steel beasts.
So he charged right in, grabbed a steel beast, tore it apart, split it in half instantly. Its crystal dropped out. Huang Quan picked it up and ate it immediately. Pretty soon, that unbearable hunger faded away. The closer we got to Biling Park, the more steel beasts we ran into. Lions, tigers, elephants, and more. By the end, even Huang Quan was struggling. I had to jump in. Huang Quan wouldn't give up. He was strong, but not fast. Not as agile as me. Couldn't outrun them? Meanwhile, inside a lab, a man in a white coat, an old man with silver hair, was a condensed matter scientist. Condensed matter tech was a top imperial project, and it would soon change the fate of mankind. In my past life, Old Chan used this tech, combined with crystals to make weapons, so regular people could fight too. Barely kept the steel beasts at bay. Without him, humans would have died except for machine riders. No way we'd have survived. Then a blonde, blue-eyed foreigner suddenly led 70 or 80 people, burst out through the doors. But after just a few steps, their screams rang out. A pack of steel wolves charged, tore them apart in seconds. Seeing this, Wang Xiaoming quickly shut the blast-proof glass doors, instinctively stepped back a few paces. This was ground zero at the start of the disaster. Now there's no living soul for miles. The streets are full of bodies and machine scraps. If it weren't for this blast-proof glass, they'd all be dead by now. As everyone watched, their co-workers got ripped to shreds by the beasts. A steel wolf dropped from the sky, slammed down in front of the blast doors. Its body twisted, snapped in half. Only a few iron bones holding together. Then several more explosions rocked. There's a small plaza outside the lab. Everyone saw a huge red mech fighting outside. Wolves kept rushing at him, biting the mech, but he smashed each one with a punch, shaking the ground, cratered everywhere. In just a few minutes, the place was littered with steel beast bodies. After clearing the wolves, I ran to the door panting, yelled, "Anyone inside?" The doors opened. A group of people rushed out. I scanned the crowd, asked calmly, "Which one is Dr. Old Chun?" An old man confusedly stepped forward. I said, "Time is tight. I'll make this quick. I know how to break through with condensed matter tech. This area is crawling with steel beasts. I can't fight while protecting you all, but I can bring you food regularly, until the Empire sends help." Wang Xiaoming replied calmly, "What do you want?" If I'm not from the Empire, risking my life to help him right now. I must want something, and I'm not hiding it. I said I'd give them the breakthrough and protect them. But they need to make me a weapon. Don't worry, you guys can totally build it. Last life, Huang Quan helped them out here. Caught some steel beasts for them to study. Made the world shake. Wasn't expecting that because of the crystals. Old Chun made a breakthrough and used the best tech from the project to forge him a long blade. It was called Flame Demon, a sword that could get insanely hot. Huang Quan was already huge, but nationwide, plenty of mech riders were taller. The reason he was the land war god was all thanks to that blade. That sword made all the difference. I was lucky to see it last life. One casual swing split a grown steel beast in two. But it was super expensive and rare materials. There weren't many like it in the world. If I wanted to fight bigger foes, I had to get this top-tier weapon. After a few seconds thought, Old Chun said, "If everything is as you say." I agree. I nodded right away, left Yang Fan here, and handed over some of my prized instant noodles, then turned and yelled to Huang, who was still fighting, "Toss me a steel beast." Huang Quan swung up a steel beast and hurled it from dozens of meters away. I caught it with one hand and crushed it on the spot. There's something called a crystal in steel beasts. We mech riders have one too. It's our core power source. It'll help you break through the tech. Besides food today, one also brought some fireworks. Light them up when you break through. When I hear it, I'll come over. We can discuss making the weapon then. Old Chun nodded hard at that, eyes burning with excitement. Couldn't wait to study the steel beast.
Even Wang Xiaoming looked pumped.
He wanted a few more beasts. But in a blink, Huan Quan was swarmed by steel monkeys. Big size means big strength. So after wrapping up, I charged over. We fought and ran, covered over 10 kilometers. Those monkeys really never gave up, just for stealing a couple crystals. Come on, Huan Quan gasped, sitting down, holding a handful of crystals. About 20 or 30. And that's why the whole monkey army chased us. He kept popping crystals into his mouth, crunching loudly. Huan Quan chomped right through them. I pulled out a few fist-sized crystals and said, "Can't you try harder?" Not even one evolution and you call yourself a monkey? How much energy can these little ones have? Aim higher next time. Or I'll be embarrassed to admit I know you. If you go out with me again. My new target is evolved steel beasts. Any one of them has way more power than regular ones. No more talking. I pulled Huang Quan up to keep hunting. Level up our evolution. Then we reached the Beeling Park gates. First thing we saw was a giant crocodile. I rushed over in a flash, slammed its head hard. Huang Quan, weighing tons, sat on the croc. The croc roared in pain. I pried its mouth open and tore it apart. Heard a loud snap. Ripped its jaws open. Huang Quan grabbed the crystal out of its mouth. We've trapped 6 or 7 groups of steel beasts these days.
Taken down dozens.
All massive ones. Each crystal's packed with even more energy. Maybe they're too big. Makes them harder to evolve. Even after all these crystals, Huang Quan only evolved twice. Unlike me, who hit 4 times last week. Standing 17.5 meters tall. One more and I'll be a full adult. Suddenly a roar echoed. A building ahead collapsed. A swarm of crocs charged out. The biggest one was over 20 meters long, about 7 or 8 meters tall. It had half-meter-long spikes on its back.
Its tail was like a giant hammer.
Huan Quan strode right up to attack. His huge fist slammed down on the crocodile's back. It instantly knocked the croc flat. The ground even cracked open under the force. The lead croc had already evolved 4 times. Its tail hammer actually smashed right into Huan Quan's thigh. Knocked to the ground, Huan Quan didn't even hesitate. He rolled to the side quickly. The next second, his original spot had a 2.5 meter wide crater smashed into it. If he hadn't dodged, his body probably would have exploded. After finishing the other crocs, I rushed over to help Huan Quan. I grabbed a streetlight nearby and started smashing it at the croc. The loud banging sounds just kept coming. Finally, Huan Quan punched right through the croc's belly. But just then, the ground suddenly started shaking hard. Off in the distance, a huge figure appeared. It was actually a croc that evolved 6 times. I knew with our current power, we stood no chance fighting it. So I did what I always do. Grabbed the crystal and got out fast. Soon we arrived at an empty residential area. Huan Quan and I started counting our loot. These 6 crystals go to the big guy. This one's for you. Huan Quan gave me the last croc's crystal we took down together. Then he explained, once I eat these 6, I should be able to hit the 3rd evolution. I gulped down the crystal in one go. As soon as it hit my stomach, my body energy filled up instantly. If I was all steel before, now it felt like I had flesh and blood too. I could clearly feel tiny channels forming all throughout my body. Crystal energy flowed right through them. Then back to the crystal, cycling non-stop. My height settled at 18 meters. With a single thought, my right arm started to crack and shift. Out popped a round gun muzzle, with 9 barrels. Huan Quan jumped in surprise. What happened to you? I didn't say a word, just pointed my hand at a moving building ahead. A second later, the barrels spun like crazy. Golden bullets poured out all at once. In just a dozen seconds, the building was sliced in half. Huan Quan was so shocked he couldn't shut his mouth. This makes no sense. Where are you getting all these bullets? And the power is insane. I blew the smoke from my gun barrel and turned it back into a hand. They're laser rounds, powered by my inner crystal energy. After 5 more evolutions, it hits the Lord tier. Even missiles can't break them. As I said this, I stretched out my arm and turned it into a gun muzzle. What do you think of this weapon? The Lord tier evolves it into a laser cannon. with one shot. It'll cut a skyscraper in half. Huang Quan gulped hard. Meanwhile, old Chun in the lab stared at the glowing crystal, then suddenly shouted, "It worked! The condensation tech finally broke through." He raised the crystal high and yelled to everyone in the lab, "This isn't just a tech breakthrough. It's hope for all humanity." Seeing fireworks from the lab, I rushed over with Huang Quan at noon that day, bringing a truckload of supplies. Now that I've evolved to adult stage, I just swept the steel beasts in the square aside with my laser shots, and they went down instantly. Old Chun's eyes narrowed when he saw me. He knew I'd evolved.
His gaze locked on me.
"Now that condensation tech is ready. What weapon do you want us to make?" "A blade, a superheated flame blade. No idea what special features it should have. So I just described what I'd seen in my previous life. The blades from the research center. So they should have some idea. But what I didn't expect, the one in charge of this project, was Chun's invincible son, Wang Xiaoming. He brought machines up from the basement, carried them over, and scanned me all over. Everyone else kept their distance. That thing's really radioactive. Totally, not for humans. If most people got hit, their liver and kidneys would fail. Their organs would shut down. From what people said, the blade's made from rocket material. Huang Quan grabbed some crystals and stuffed them in his mouth. "Damn, is this minicart toxic or what?" He swallowed, but his mech showed no signs of evolving. He looked dazed. I watched from a distance and let out a deep laugh. Honestly, I envy Wen Quan. He's got a mining dump truck as a weapon. Only those who've survived the apocalypse get it. Just how much a good start matters. Regular folks with no vehicle are doomed to die and starve. Motorcycles, trikes, and vans. Those bikers never worry about basic needs. But they're weak in combat. They're the bottom rung of the road warrior tribe. Always cannon fodder in battle. Mid-level bikers drive family cars. Not too strong, not too weak. Hardly any room to move up. Only a few ever make it. Most just live ordinary lives. Heavy trucks, big excavators, off-roaders, and bulldozers are the real power. Only bikers like this can carve out a place in this chaos. The research center's nuclear-proof doors finally opened. Yang Fan and Wang Xiaoming came out with dark circles under their eyes. Everyone else was sleeping on the floor. For this weapon, they hadn't slept in days. Everyone helped Wang Xiaoming with the work. Soon, the two of them carried out a black sword handle. All black, about 2.5 meters long. One end was round. The other was a dragon's head, mouth wide open. Wang Xiaoming smiled mysteriously. "Just try it and you'll see. Push that switch next to it." So I did as he said, and gently pressed the switch. Then, the next second, a quarter of my inner crystal energy was instantly drained. It flowed through my arm, into the blade's dragon mouth. Suddenly, a huge beam of light shot out. It settled at 8 meters long, forming a red blade. A wave of heat rushed at me. Wang Xiaoming quickly stepped back, explaining that the sword absorbs its owner's crystal energy, converts it inside the handle, and forms a blazing blade. It's not solid, but extremely hot and dense. The light blade has 3 settings. First, 1,500 degrees Celsius. Second, 5,000 degrees. Third, over 10,000 degrees, with one powerful push from my feet. I charged straight for a 3-story building. Without a word, I slashed down in a flash of red. The blade shimmered, and the 3-story building was sliced in half. Now this is a real weapon. I looked the blade over, very satisfied. Only downside, it burns through crystal energy fast. Just one swing on the lightest setting used up 1/10 of my energy. A couple swings, and I was almost empty. At best, 2 minutes of swings and I'd be out. Since it fires up when I feed it crystal energy. Let's call it Grinder. I calmly opened my mouth and said the name from my past life. Grinder, great name. Huang Quan stared in awe. This sword is just awesome. Who can stand up to that slash? It's a total game changer. If not for the rare materials, Huang Quan would definitely want another one. Suddenly, there was a noise in the sky. Looking up, an armed helicopter circled above the city. After hovering for a few seconds, it suddenly crashed into a building. Just when everyone thought the chopper was doomed, the next second, the helicopter transformed into a mech on the rooftop. Out of nowhere, the mech turned its head. and stared at the lab from hundreds of meters away. Huang Quan had seen stuff before. Just a glance and I could tell something was off. Wait, that's a modified attack helicopter. It doesn't have any weapon systems? But the next second, Yang Fan jumped up and waved at his buddy. Come here, I'll explain. He even explained to Wang Quan and me, saying, this is my cousin. Yang, this chopper is a retired model. Its weapons were removed a long time ago. My cousin was a pilot in the army. He got it through his connections. It just looks like an attack chopper. It's pretty much like a regular civilian one. Hearing that, I couldn't help but say, dang. Yang Ao is super quick. He landed right in front of us in seconds. After greeting Yang Fan, he looked over at the building I'd just cut in half. His eye kind of twitched. After Yang Fan introduced us, we all got familiar pretty quick. Actually, I know Yang Ao pretty well too. He's kind of a big deal in the future. Helicopters are rare in the country. Attack ones are even rarer. They're harder to get than those mining trucks in Huang Quan's area. The cataclysm left the sky covered with thick clouds. Magnetic interference everywhere. Flights are all grounded. Long-distance helicopters are the fastest now. Ground travel can't compare. They hit over 200 kilometers an hour. So, north to south, just a few hours. Yang Ao took Yang Fan and headed north to Qingzhou. Before leaving, Yang Ao turned back to tell everyone at the institute.
10 minutes ago.
I saw the Kyoto helicopter on my way here. It's coming to pick you up. No need to worry, guys. But Yang Fan looked pretty disappointed. He wanted to take everyone from the institute to Qingzhou. He'd spent a few days with them. He understood how crazy that solid-state tech is. It's gonna be a game changer. Plus, Wang Xiaoming, that genius weapon designer. Never mind all that for now. Just think, dozens of scientists left behind. Yang Fan punched the dash at that point. If Yang Ao hadn't told him the Empire's chopper was coming, he would have taken Old Chun and Wang Xiaoming today. After Yang Fan and them left, I grabbed Huang right away and got ready to leave. At the start of the cataclysm, there are a lot of opportunities. I really don't want the Empire to recruit me too early. Not long after we left, a squad of attack helicopters flew in. 15 helicopters. Their black bodies were covered with gun barrels and shells. The researchers were waving and shouting. Some even almost burst into tears. A group of soldiers in camo got off the choppers. All of them had machine guns. The lead officer wore black sunglasses. I'm sent by the Empire to pick you up. Hurry up and get on the chopper. I'll take you guys to the Imperial capital. Looking back at the institute, Old Chun frowned deeply. What about the equipment here? Sorry, we can't take it. Best thing to do is destroy it. Hearing that, the researchers freaked out. No way! The gear here is priceless. Way too valuable. We can't destroy it. Zhang Xiaoming's basement has a bomb-proof code lock. No one can get in. When the time's right, we can come back for it. Alright, let's board. Don't waste any more time. Meanwhile, in a neighborhood by the park, I stopped with Huang Quan. I told Huang Quan, once they take off, we'll steal all the gear. Once we get the materials, we'll just kidnap Wang Xiaoming and have him build us weapons. Not gonna lie, stealing the gear is also useful for us. But I have my own reasons. I don't want weapons like Flame Demon falling into the Empire's hands. The Imperial capital is chaos right now. Bunch of new power players popping up. They don't know Wang Xiaoming built Flame Demon yet. Once they know, they'll come for the equipment and take the data and gear. Pretty soon, we'll see a second or a third Flame Demon out there. Killing Iron Beasts with those, fine. But if they use them on bikers that won't submit, that's scary. Half an hour later, we're sure the Empire folks left. I snuck to the lab with Huang Quan. Huang Quan threw a punch, and the nuke-proof glass shattered. But then, the next scene got us both awkward. Huang Quan couldn't help but roast. This damn door's way too tiny. No more talking. I just drew Flame Demon, turned the power up one notch. Blade glowed red, and I brought it down on the Institute's roof. Soon we sliced it open, exposing the inside structure. Hundreds of computers and huge machines 3 or 4 meters tall. Tons of transistors and sealed documents. Then I had Huang Quan start packing everything up.
10 minutes later.
The underground lab was wiped clean. Leaving the institute, we didn't rush off. Found a spot and buried everything. Better stay low for now. Let's get some rest first. Next day, we left Deep North City. Next stop's Handong, a top-tier city. Population 60 million. On the highway, Huan Quan asked, "You were rushing to Qingzhou. Was it something important?" It was really important. Not so much now. Hearing that, Huan Quan got excited. If it's not urgent, let's spend some time in Handong clearing monsters. Leveling up is our top priority. Once those iron beasts evolve, they're a nightmare to kill. Let's focus on getting stronger now. A day later, we enter Handong. We didn't head to the capital right away. But as soon as we got here, trouble found us. Roadblocks everywhere. Dozens of biker robots glaring at us, all holding brand new assault rifles. They boxed us in on the street. These biker bots come in all sizes. Vans, sedans, even motorcycles and scooters. Motobots are about human size. Short and small. Not as strong. A blue 9-armed auto shouted at me. "What's your name? What are you doing here?" Huan Quan glanced at the gun barrel, stepped back and said, "Hey man, cool it. I'm Huan Quan. My brother and I came from deep north to escape the disaster." The short white bicycle bot picked up a pen and wrote down our info on a piece of paper. Then Alto said, "Protecting humans is everyone's job. From now on, you two are drafted. You'll be fed and sheltered. Just so you know, we control all the gas stations here. No outsiders get fuel." Huan Quan was speechless. "Dude, don't you guys hear your tanks rattling?" "Who cares? Everyone's tank rattles. Also, we provide iron beast corpses here. When you eat, be sure to finish a whole one, or it won't work." Huan Quan looked at me for answers, but the next second, I nodded and agreed. The blue Alto snorted. Smart choice. They lowered their guns and led the way. I followed behind. We're gonna hunt iron beasts anyway. Might as well help them out. About 10 minutes later, we reached the edge of the street. From a distance, you could see iron beasts everywhere. We didn't rush in. Instead, hid behind a building. Blue Alto laid out the plan. Gunners alternate left and right, pushing forward step by step. Take the street corner first. Then Team 1 up the left side, and Team 2 up the right. You newcomers are big, so you go first. Try to run, and you'll be turned to Swiss cheese. Wow, they threaten us, even before we get started. We said sure. Then the next second, I transformed into my Mecha. Same with Mantis Fist. The two of us stood behind, looking massive. The sky grew a bit darker again. The biker with the gun's hand was shaking. Everyone else was just staring, stunned. Only the blue Alto kept its eyes on the street ahead, staring at the road up ahead. A 4-meter-tall steel beast. Atu lit up. This is gonna be a tough fight. Everyone, stay sharp. Did you guys find those two? People in the back are about to cry. Patting Atu on the shoulder. Turn around and take a look. Atu turned his head. All he saw was a dark mass. He was confused. When did a wall show up here? He looked up, followed the wall with his eyes. Two giant faces were staring at him. One red, one yellow. The mech suits looked like works of art. On their chests were a car and a truck logo. Huan Quan laughed. Captain Zhang, right? So when do we head out? Tu swallowed hard. Boss, just call me Zhao Jiang. Got anything for me? Let's finish this fight first. He was shocked. These two mechs were actually 18 meters tall. 20 meters, way taller than normal. Heavy trucks. The motorcycle scooter squad charged first. Rifles blazing. Steel beasts got riddled with holes. But it took dozens of shots to kill one. Huan Quan said, "Well trained. Pretty interesting. I just watched coldly. Guns are really for the small mech riders. Autobots using rifles look like they're holding toothpicks. This team has serious military discipline." Jiang Cheng led the Autobots right behind, not afraid to die. After watching the fight a bit, Huan Quan and I jumped into the street. Huan Quan punched a steel dog. Its spine caved in, ribs shattered, limbs exploded. The huge beast dropped to its knees. He even punched through its belly. Stuff gushed out everywhere. I cursed and jumped onto a 3-story building. Old Huang, what the hell? Why so violent? The battle turned. Mech riders kept falling. Lines almost broke. Right then, gunshots blasted from afar. A steel beast's head exploded. A Kawasaki HR moto, all modded. No one riding it, it jumped and switched form mid-air, turning into a 6-foot-tall green mech. Landed steady, sniper in hand. That was the Dang. But soon he was surrounded by over 100 steel beasts. Raised his arm, turned it into a gun barrel. Laser rounds fired out, poured out less than 10 seconds. 100 steel beasts turned to junk. Everyone went silent. After Huang Quan explained, we learned the Dang was an orphan, a second gen. Jiang Cheng was the captain of the police. He gathered comrades to make a base and protect people. The Dang leveled up after absorbing metal beast crystals. Right away, he clung to the boss. Boss, I'm with you now. I'll scout, gather info, and hunt crystals. I'll do anything. Wang Quan smacked him. Hey kid! You're stealing my gig. I just rolled my eyes. More hands, more power. With the Dang leading the way, we went to the open market. Here, the steel beasts weren't fighting at all. Super organized. Must be someone strong running things. And sure enough, a 40-meter-long armored python appeared from nowhere. Palm-sized scales shining coldly. A giant crown mark on its head, showing who's boss. I fired off a burst of lasers. Sparks flew everywhere. Barely a scratch. Huang Quan chuckled. So this laser rifle ain't all that, huh? On a high-rise in the distance, the Dang yelled, "Run, quick!" Then saw us standing our ground, and the crowd charged us instead. I drew the flame demon blade. Huang Quan went for the python first. I mopped up the little guys, charged into the beast crowd. Flame demon blade blazing with extreme firepower. Slashed mech beasts like cutting tofu. Easy as pie. Huang Quan rushed at the python. Punched hard. The 40-meter armored python went down. Crashed into a building. Huge clouds of dust rose up. But Huang Quan stood there, looking dead serious. The python rose up from the rubble, aiming at him. Wrapped him tight with its body. About to gulp him down like a rat. Huang Quan grabbed both ends with all his might. That python's all about strength. Fighting against those jaws. It kept biting down hard. Man and beast deadlocked. I drew my grime blade. Yelled, "Old Huang." Lowered my head and slashed the snake. Its hard scales melted under the high heat. Fell apart instantly. And then the python let out a roaring screech. Its upper body flew off. Looking at the half body still twitching, I stomped its tongue and drove my flame demon blade down hard. The python's head was skewered on the spot, pinned to the ground for good. The Dang ran over fast as hell, gathered up the energy crystal, cleaned up the battlefield, handed me the crystals he picked up. I grabbed a couple crystals first, topped off my lost energy for the day, then picked out the big one from the python and tossed it to Huang Quan. Huang Quan snatched it up with a big grin and swallowed it. He lit up next second. His body shot up another meter. Got even stronger. 4th evolution done. Alright, let's call it for today. Back to base. The whole university turned into a fortress. Stepping onto campus, couples walked hand in hand, all sweet. Old folks and kids laughing everywhere. No sign of post-apocalypse mess at all. Huang Quan and I came to the river outside town. That guy insisted on tagging along with us, so he stuck around. We'd only walked a bit when I felt something off. The ground started vibrating. Ripples covered the river ahead. At the far end, a wave of beasts ran wild. Steel beasts all over, driving thousands of people and mech riders. If you got caught, you were torn apart instantly. They're from other bases. Looking at all these steel beasts, I actually got excited. Let's be clear here. Whoever kills gets to keep the crystals. With that, I took off with Huang Quan toward downtown. Inside the university, once word spread about the steel beast horde, everyone panicked. It was a full-on steel beast attack. Humans who couldn't run in time got devoured instantly by the metal flood. Even slow Autobots were shredded. At the same time, I hid by a rundown office building, waited till I heard the stampede coming, then punched the nearby building. It was already full of holes. With one punch, it collapsed, crushed a bunch of steel beasts, and blocked off the street. A ton of beasts got trapped outside. I morphed my arm into a Gatling gun, raised it, and unleashed yellow laser rounds. The bullets poured down like rain, pinning steel beasts in the narrow street. No way for them to dodge. They kept dropping in waves. Those trapped by my ambush were about 200 or 300 regular steel beasts. Right then, A boar-shaped steel beast charged from the corner. I punched straight at the 12-meter tall boar. Its tusks broke off the next second. Its head blew to pieces. After taking out the boar beast, I yelled at the Dang who was hiding. I'm chasing the others. You follow behind. Dig up all the crystals. Hearing that, the Dang jumped down from the wall. Started digging for crystals. Looking at all the dead steel beasts everywhere. A few minutes later, following the gunfire, the Dang hauled the sack to the next site. The neighborhood was destroyed. Collapsed buildings everywhere, and steel beast corpses all over. There were a lot of beasts here. Even a few that had evolved 4 times. When the Dang arrived, he saw me sitting alone on the rubble. He hurried over and handed me the sack. Then went back to digging more crystals. I opened the sack, pulled out some crystals, right in front of the Dang. I started eating them by the handful. My stamina is draining fast. I need to recharge quickly. So fast. As Huang Quan and the Dang watched, several bags of crystals were cleared out. Huang, how about a spar? Huang Quan was secretly thrilled. Sure, but let's be clear. You can't use Yanmo. I laughed out loud. Not only will I not use it, I'll use only one hand. This guy just hit his adult stage. He crouched down low, pushed off hard, and launched forward like a spring. An uppercut aimed straight for my face. I took half a step back, dodging the punch easily. Then I clenched my left fist. From my fist to my shoulder, it turned pitch black. I slammed a punch into his gut. Huang Quan's face changed instantly. He flew back in a wide arc, crashing down 10 meters away, kicking up a cloud of dust. The crystals in the Dang's hand fell to the ground unnoticed. He just stood there, dazed, for 3 whole minutes, before Huang Quan finally crawled up, staring at my pitch-black arm. His pupils shrank. What kind of punch is that? In that moment, I felt like you'd punch through me. The black color slowly faded. Normal, it's my 6th evolution. Starting from the 6th, the body gets an extra layer. I call it armament. Strength and toughness both skyrocket. Even a rocket can't pierce it, once it covers the whole body. That's Lord level. Actually, after eating thousands of crystals, I just hit the 6th evolution. I told my team to rest here, while I found some iron beasts to practice on. I only reached adult stage in my past life. I must master this new power fast. I shielded my arm with armor, letting the monsters bite me on purpose. Tested my defense for over half an hour. I smoothly unsheathed Yanmo. Time to finish these stragglers off. I was curious about 2nd gear. I pushed the blade to its limit. This thing is like a high-power pump, draining my energy like crazy. The blade glowed between 8 and 10 meters. The temperature surged around me, just as I felt I'd be sucked dry. The output finally stabilized. The blade was still 8 meters long, but it was a blood-dripping red. The air within 2 meters was warped by the intense heat. I aimed at a 20-meter office building, raising Yanmo with both hands. I swung a violent downward strike. Right after the swing, I cut the power back to 1st gear. My internal energy can't handle a second drain like that. Just 2 seconds later, in the center of that building, a straight black line appeared. I gave it a light push. Half the building collapsed, revealing a mirror-smooth cut. Even I had to gasp in shock. 1st gear is 1,500 degrees, but 2nd gear hit 5,000. This insane sharpness can cut through any top-tier armor. With this blade in my hand, I'd even challenge a Lord-level beast. High-level kills are easy now, though my current energy only allows for 1 peak strike. It's perfect for a surprise attack, catching a strong foe off guard. It'll definitely end them. Just then, I looked at the street nearby. My old friend, Zhang Cheng, was covering survivors as they fled. Behind them, dozens of vicious iron beasts followed. The group rounded the corner and froze in their tracks, completely stunned. Everyone stared at me wide-eyed. At this 18-meter-tall red Mecha, their minds were fixed on the sight of me slicing that building. Jiang Cheng snapped out of it. He shouted to the group, "Don't just stand there. Run for your lives." But as he looked back, the ferocious monsters were all gone. Those beasts definitely recognized me, the god of death who killed their kind. They turned and bolted in fear. Some even tripped and fell, scrambling to get away. Animal instinct told them that meeting me meant death. I just took a quick glance, and it terrified those beasts. The survivors. The sound of people gulping filled the air. Someone asked in shock, "Who is he?" to scare them with a look. Jiang Cheng looked at me with a sigh and told everyone my name. In his eyes, I was a total cheater compared to others. After all, we all became Mecha men at the same time. Why am I the only one this strong? Absurdly powerful. Jiang Cheng and I met up. The Dang looked behind him, at the thousands of followers.
His eyes nearly popped out.
He knew how ungrateful survivors could be.
He didn't expect
Jiang Cheng to be so soft-hearted, dragging these burdens along. Jiang Cheng sighed. The horde hit hard. I'll save whoever I can. There are pregnant women and kids here. He just couldn't be cold-hearted and leave them behind. Huang Quan leaned on the rubble, ignoring them. He lazily told the refugees, "All the beasts here are dead. Go find food if you want to live." Jiang Cheng thanked him then, immediately barked at the civilians. "Go find supplies now." Seeing how decisive he had become, I nodded in approval.
he really had matured.
I told my team to get ready to move to the next hunting ground. Jiang Cheng called out to the Dang and tossed over some boxes of custom sniper rounds. The Dang didn't hesitate. He stuffed several purified crystals into Jiang Cheng's hands and ran. Huang Quan found it amusing, so he threw over 2 level 3 crystals. He laughed and said, Jiang Cheng did what he never could. Let's drink some gas together sometime. The wind swirled the city's smoke. Our 3 silhouettes faded into the gray horizon. Only Jiang Cheng remained with the crystals, watching us with a deep gaze. On the way to the next city, I started setting some rules. Solo loot is yours to keep. For team kills, the loot is split by contribution. The Dang, happy to tag along, agreed immediately. Huang Quan nodded too. I continued. No sniper duty for Dang. He'll draw fire in combat, scout the terrain, cover retreats, and clean up the field. The Dang slammed the brakes. Covering retreats? He groaned. That's a suicide mission. If a beast makes me and Wang run, and he stays behind a block, there'll be nothing left of him. I snapped back at him. If it were easy, I'd do it myself. Why else do I need you? The Dang grit his teeth. He braced himself and took the job. He knew deep down, to stay in this team, he had to prove his worth. Huang Quan was gloating nearby. I turned and gave him his role too. You're our main damage dealer now. You're the first to face tough foes. Huang Quan's smile froze. Why me? You're the strongest. Why am I taking the hits? I told him flatly. Save the best steel for the edge. My ultimate moves drain too much energy. Wasting them on small fry is a joke. I need to save them for the one-shot kills. Besides, if a pro like me does everything, I'd lose my status. Huang Quan rolled his eyes hard. You just want to play the underdog. I ignored him. I just turned on the radio. Today is a play good days at full blast. Since we're working together now, I suggest we pick a bold, badass team name. Huang Quan looked up at the cloudy sky and bragged we'd slay God someday.
He said, let's just call ourselves Challenge the Heavens.
The Dang and I were speechless. That name's way too flashy. I immediately said no way. Changed it to something cooler and a bit more normal. Defy the Heavens. The Dang quickly clapped in approval. I went ahead and announced our team roles. I'm the captain, no question. Huang Quan's the deputy. The Dang, unwillingly, gets to lead Squad 1. I said I won't be a dictator, and different opinions are always welcome. Huang Quan glared at me, cursing under his breath. I already decided all the names and positions, so what's left for them to say? The Dang was just excited, clapping again. He promised to follow my lead no matter what. Huang Quan joked he didn't even have a single soldier. So what's he so hyped about? I grinned and patted the Dang on the shoulder, and promised I'd get him an anti-tank Barrett in the future. In this screwed-up apocalypse, going solo is a death sentence. I realized early on, Huang Quan has the skills to become a future warlord. Bringing him into the team is definitely my biggest advantage in this chaos. I want to build a small, but unstoppable, steel combat crew. In this era where everyone has mechs, and warlords run wild, we're going to battle our way out. Only the strong survive in this world. And the game's already started. Without strong chips in your hand, you'll just get wiped out by the house. On the way to Qingzhou, we had to pass through Yangcheng. That's the main safe base for Han Dong's army. 2 days later in the afternoon, the three of us arrived at Yangcheng. The Han River Bridge was about 10 kilometers away. The cold wind cut through to the bone. The Daeng stood on the 100-meter-long bridge, staring down at the shimmering river. This is the road to Yangcheng. But weirdly, there's not a soul in sight. A warning sign at the bridgehead said, "Beware of monsters in the river." For the past 2 days, we've wiped out almost all the adult, steel beasts in the rest of Handong. Seeing this sign, it didn't scare us at all. Actually, we got kind of excited. The Daeng with sharp eyes caught a huge shadow flash under the water. I quickly gave the go-ahead, same plan as always. Huan Quan looked at the bridge, a little worried, afraid if he fell in, he'd sink straight to the bottom. I snapped at him for dragging his feet, threatening to toss him in as fish food. The Daeng led the way, stepping onto the icy bridge deck. Huan Quan and I followed in our vehicle forms. Halfway across the bridge, everything was still calm. The Daeng, being dramatic, pretended to slip and faceplant. His backpack burst open, spilling a few energy crystals into the river. I couldn't help but laugh. He's really getting good at playing bait. Suddenly, a giant whirlpool started to form on the river. Huan Quan stared hard at the water, telling me the monster was coming up. The water exploded with a roar, splashing everywhere. A massive black fish, as long as a building, shot out of the river. It had 4 claws, and its huge jaws were packed with razor teeth. The monster lunged right at the Daeng, trying to swallow him whole before dropping back in. The Daeng screamed for help at the top of his lungs. Huan Quan instantly morphed into a mech, radiating the aura of a war god.
He threw a devastating punch,
aiming straight for the fish's side. But the fish's scales were way too slippery, so the punch only glanced off, just left a trail of sparks and a broken scale. The fish was blasted 10 meters away, crashing hard onto the bridge. It realized Huan Quan was dangerous and tried to jump back in the river, just as it leapt up several meters.
in midair.
Before it could hit the water, my inferno blade was already a streak of red lightning slashing down. Sensing death close by, the monster twisted its body on instinct, but the sharp blade sliced right through it, cutting it cleanly in two. The black scales at the wound were burned bright red by 5,000 degrees of heat. The fish crashed back down on the bridge. Thrashing in pain, it howled wildly, charging in with my burning blade. The beast knew it couldn't escape, so it opened its jaws wide enough to bite through steel, lunging for my head. It probably thought it could chew up my whole arm and head, but I didn't even try to dodge, just raised my armored left arm to block. The fish chomped down hard on my arm, but couldn't even scratch it. I swung my grinding blade with my right hand, throwing off a shower of sparks. The massive fish head shot straight up and rolled to the side. The whole fight was over clean and fast. Not even 3 seconds. The Daeng hurried over, excitedly pulled out the basketball-sized crystal, and just as he was about to toss it in his bag, a shout came from the other side of the bridge. 5 heavy tanks rolled up, escorting 15 red trucks, charging onto the bridge. The trucks looked a lot like me, just a bit smaller, judging from their symbols. They'd all evolved at least twice. The leader was even a 4th evolution. That team captain strutted over, saying this was their prey, staked out for days. Huan Quan narrowed his eyes and coldly asked what he wanted. The guy arrogantly told us to hand over the crystal and announced we were being conscripted by the Yangcheng army. Huan Quan finally saw what these so-called regular troops are like. Just a bunch of bullies with guns. The captain waved his hand, and the 5 tank cannons all pointed straight at us. He sneered and warned, if we didn't obey, we'd be dead. I played along, pretending to surrender, and strode forward boldly. At the same time, I started flattering the Yangcheng governor, just talking crap, saying I admired the governor for ages, and I wanted to join up. I shot Huan Quan a look, and signaled the Daeng to hand over the crystal. With a frustrated face, the Daeng gave it up to them. When the guys in the truck saw the huge crystal, their eyes nearly popped out. The captain took it, thrilled with my obedient performance.
Then,
one of his men noticed the Dang's fat bag and whispered something to the captain. The captain's eyes lit up, greedily sizing up the bag. He said he'd recommend us for the elite Juyu squad in Yongcheng. But first, we had to hand over all our crystals. That'd be our entry fee. I acted real interested, stepped even closer, stood right in front of him. He was still bragging about how great the Juyu squad was. I slowly drew the Inferno Blade's handle and flashed him a grin. I'll eat anything, but not a loss. So forget about joining. I revved the Inferno to full power, red flames blazing on the blade. From above, I slammed down hard on the 4th evolution truck. 1,500 degrees of heat plus my brute force, and the guy's head flew off. He dropped to his knees. Huang Quan went even crazier, smashing a tank into scrap metal with one punch. Even the mech driver inside got crushed to a pulp. The rest of the trucks finally snapped out of it. Realizing what just happened, 4 tanks frantically turned around, their cannons trained on us 3. If we were still on the bridge, maybe I'd be careful about it collapsing and dropping us in the river. But at this range, it's so close. Smashing these tin cans is almost a joke. The tank drivers screamed at us to drop dead. I just sneered, raised my left arm armor, and blocked the cannon with my bare hand. With a muffled boom, the shot never cleared the barrel and blew up inside. I swung my Inferno Blade, taking that busted tank out with it. Could split them in half. On the other side, Huang smashed the remaining tanks. Then he fired his laser gun wildly, wiping out all the remaining mechs. The Dane crouched by the bridge, raising his custom sniper rifle. He fired a shot into the sky, perfectly hitting the scout drone and sending it down in smoke. He shouted for us to retreat. The drone surely sent the footage back. Reinforcements will be here soon. I didn't want to leave empty-handed. I grabbed the truck crystals and bolted. They stayed back for cover and recon. Huang Quan and I rode side by side, speeding down the highway. Huang finally started to panic, cursing me for dragging him into this. He couldn't believe we hit army tanks. Usually he'd be terrified of them. Now we'll be hunted by an army. I told him to stay calm. The whole empire is in total chaos. Governor Jiang Tianyun of Yang City is just a warlord seeking power. Chaos breeds powerful men. Every strong group is going rogue. They won't hunt us empire-wide. We've got nothing to lose anyway. We can run whenever we want. Forget Jiang's ragtag militia. Even if the real army blocks us, I still won't back down. Huang Quan turned pale with fear, yelling about the massive army, thinking they'd drown us in numbers. Just as he said that, helicopters appeared in the sky, propellers roaring loudly. The Dang floored it from behind, catching up to us like the wind. At 400 clicks an hour, we looked like crawling turtles. Yi's lips were trembling with fear. He said we've really done it now. 10 units were right behind us. Attack helis loaded with missiles. I looked at them with disdain. To me, they were just flying torches. One burst could bring one down. They added on the verge of tears. There's a massive swarm on the ground. Hundreds of heavy truck mechs. And behind them, mini mechs with rocket launchers. Hearing this, Huang Quan slipped up, smashing through the guardrail. He regretted even fighting. We're going to be blown to dust. I snapped back at him. He was the most excited earlier. Now he's acting like a coward. The highway was a dead end. The mech army would catch us. I decided to change route, heading for the mountain plateau. The terrain there is very steep. After a steep climb, there's a broad summit. Beyond that, miles of wilderness. Perfect for our escape. Just then, the attack helis above launched missiles directly at us. Deafening explosions went off. Smoking craters opened up everywhere. The 3 of us ducked our heads, dodging through the fire. Using his speed, floored the accelerator. I'll scout ahead, he yelled. Then he vanished from sight. I gritted my teeth in anger, transforming into mech form. I raised my armored arm with a left-hand punch. I blocked an incoming missile. The blast knocked me back. Shrapnel scraped across my frame, sparks flying everywhere. Huang and I grabbed our lasers, firing back at the helicopters. The pilots didn't expect a counter. We downed 4 or 5 of them. The rest scattered in fear, pulling back immediately, too scared to get close. Using this brief opening, Huang and I raced for the plateau. Before long, the heavy truck army arrived and reached the scene, led by an 18-meter blue mech. Looking at the heli wreckage, he cursed them as useless. He ordered more missile fire to destroy us at all costs. The pilots in the sky were livid at the insult, gripping their controls tight. Deep down, they despised Captain Jiang Nanjun, having zero respect for him. He used to be a local contractor, just a common thug. He just had some heavy trucks and sucked up to the governor.
And now?
He's bossing around real soldiers. It's an absolute disgrace. In the pavilion on the summit, they saw us being chased. He steeled his resolve, firing one perfect shot and blowing up a helicopter, watching the heli crash. His hands were dripping sweat.
He cursed, wanting to cry.
No turning back now. Before the disaster, he was a law-abiding citizen. Now he's fighting the army. But the thrill is addictive. We reached the mountain base and started climbing in mech form. Endless missiles followed us. Rockets and machine gun fire poured down like rain. In just a few seconds, the ancient site was ruined. Rocks flew everywhere. A missile trailing white smoke, headed for Huang Quan's back. I reached out my left hand, my armor grabbing the missile. The explosion went off behind me. The shockwave knocked Huang down. I growled for him to go. Don't worry about me. Just get over this mountain. Then we're home free. Huang Quan got up and ran, charging for the summit. Meanwhile, Yi's sniper rifle at the top was like a reaper's list. One shot, one kill. Helicopters kept falling down. Below, Captain Jiang saw his precious resources crashing one by one. He was screaming in rage, knowing he'd be in trouble if he lost all this gear. In a fury, he gave the order. A dozen rocket-bearing mechs lined up in formation, all barrels aimed at the top, to use suppressive fire and take out the Daing. Yi's eyes widened in fear. Take care, Captain, he yelled. Then he turned around. From the 100-meter cliff, he took a leap of faith into the vast mountains. At that exact moment, rockets slammed into the peak. The flat summit was instantly leveled. Huang Quan broke into a sweat, glad he wasn't up there. Halfway up, I saw red. My Yanmo blade was like a scythe, bursting with fiery light. Any truck that charged was sliced through like paper. Dozens were killed instantly, terrifying everyone else. No one dared move forward. We're all trucks, so why am I such a beast? Jiang stared at my blade, his eyes full of greed. That's a legendary weapon. He ordered the rockets to stop, to keep the blade intact. Then he sent the rest to exhaust me with numbers. Without the rocket fire, the pressure eased. Under Huang's laser cover, I finally reached the top. Looking back down, from the base to the slope, mech wreckage was everywhere. In the early cataclysm, the power of mechs was scary, if not for the helas and rockets. These 100 units. We already wiped out their heavy trucks. Jiang Yanjun stood arrogantly, shouting from 100 meters down the hill, told us to hand over our weapons, and he'd let us keep our bodies intact. I glanced at the thick wild forest behind me, sneered mockingly. With his numbers, he can't stop me. If I just dive into these deep woods, their big troop can't even move freely. But Jiang Yanjun replied coldly. I really thought him stalling was just to wear us down. I suddenly had a bad feeling. Something's wrong. Then, on the road at the foot of the mountain, almost 1,000 heavy machines rolled up. Truck drivers, excavators, earth movers, whatever you want, they had it. They'd handpicked this army from Yang City's massive forces. This was the elite Jiuyu unit. Looking at that endless flood of steel, even Huang Quan swallowed hard. He tried to offer compensation crystals, hoping to settle the mess. Jiang Yanjun stared at all the corpses and wreckage on the mountain, and roared with a twisted expression about his dead brothers. Now we just want to pay a few crystals and call it even. No way. Today, he wants both people and the blade. I knew that old dog had lost big, and desperately needed my blade to cover up his failures. So I just started laughing like a maniac, and threw out a bet at him. No one uses guns or cannons. I'll stand here and take on all of them alone. Huang Quan grabbed my shoulder, terrified, and called me crazy. Staying meant dying. But Jiang Yanjun, afraid I'd back out, agreed instantly without hesitation. He knew we had laser guns, and attacking them head-on would cost him heavy casualties. If they really pushed me, I might wreck that legendary blade, and he'd lose everything. Right then, Leaf Eagle, looking beat up, actually climbed up from behind the slope, huffing and puffing. The kid had already escaped, but inexplicably ran back to fight by our side. Looking at those 1,000 heavy mechs below, I told them. Even if we hide in the woods, those guys can probably still track us down. The only way out is to keep fighting and wear them down here. We have to hold out until nightfall. Once it's dark and we go deep into the mountains, they'll never dare give chase with lights on, or they'll just get picked off by steel beasts. I told Leaf Eagle, hand over the top-tier crystal the big fish dropped, then take Huan Quan and retreat. Huan Quan didn't hesitate, grabbed a handful of crystals and stuffed them in his mouth, forcing himself to recharge. He yelled at Zhang Jianzhou the mountain, "If you want to gamble with your life, count me in too." Jiang Yanzhen stared at Huan Quan like he murdered his family, grinding his teeth, warning no one would leave alive today. Said no one's making it out alive today. Huan Quan and Leaf Eagle refused to run away. Fine then. Let's do this the old way and go hard. I swallowed that top crystal from the big fish, loosened up my joints, and shouted down the mountain. My name's Lin Qing. I'm the one sending you all to hell. Huan Quan and Leaf Eagle shouted their names too. Jiang Yanzhen scowled from below, not even bothering to remember our names. He ordered his men to attack in waves of 300, charging up the mountain in turns. I growled, telling the guys to get ready. A few seconds later, the first wave of machine men charged like rabid dogs. One excavator's arm had a high-speed spinning drill. It aimed right at my chest. That kind of drill could pierce solid boulders in a second. I didn't dodge at all. I just swung my armored left arm and smashed a heavy punch straight at it. That operator even laughed at me for rushing to my death. Jiang Jianzhen's face instantly changed. He knew something was wrong. These cannon fodder had no idea how strong my left arm was. With a cracking sound, the excavator's drill and whole arm got smashed to pieces. Then I spun around and punched right through its chest, and in that split second, pulled out its inner crystal and swallowed it whole. That combo was so smooth. It didn't even take 2 seconds. Seeing the rest swarm toward me, I yanked out the handle of the flame demon blade. Those truck guys saw me swinging a bare handle, almost burst out laughing. The next second, the blade's demonic dragon head spat out an 8-meter crimson arc. The air around us erupted in a flash of intense heat. The 4 leading trucks couldn't even react, got sliced in half instantly. Leaf Eagle popped out from the side like a ghost, swiftly looting the corpses for crystals. On the other side, Huan Quan fought like a war god, unleashing a frenzy with his iron fists. In less than 30 seconds, he smashed 7 or 8 trucks into scrap. The 2 of us guarded the mountaintop, not letting a single enemy through. I swung the flame demon blade each time, slicing through multiple mechs easy. Every swing took out several mechs. The ground was littered with dismembered wreckage and split up parts everywhere. I chopped down over 100 machine men non-stop, till my arms nearly gave out. Leaf Eagle hurried over with a bundle of fresh crystals, feeding them to me and Huan Quan. Seeing their men panic and retreat in fear, Jiang Jianzhen got so mad he coughed blood right there.
He drew his gun and screamed, "Anyone steps back."
And he'd shoot them on the spot. I swallowed a few more crystals, glanced at the sky, and told Huan Quan not to take more hits. Give it 10 more minutes. Once the sun sets, we'll vanish into the mountains, and they won't catch a trace. Jiang Jianzhen clearly saw I was stalling, waiting for darkness. He got so anxious he stomped around, grabbed a giant battle axe himself, and led the charge up the mountain. I yelled at Huan Quan, and both of us raised our laser guns. We didn't hesitate, just unleashed a wild barrage halfway up the hill. That intense fire tore through truck after truck. Even Jiang Jianzhen scrambled for cover, terrified, rolling away to hide. He cursed me for being shameless, saying we agreed no guns. I laughed coldly. I told him business is all about strategy. Did he really think I'd be dumb enough for a knife fight? Laser guns kill way faster than close combat. In 5 seconds, I mowed down dozens. Jiang Yanjun went berserk, roaring that he'd charge with everything if needed, just to reach us these last few meters. He'd been a gangster back in the day, and knew showing fear in a ganged brawl means game over. As long as hundreds charged together, even if I was a god, I'd get beaten down. Huang Quan's gun got grabbed by some maniac of a mech guy. Over a dozen rushed in like wolves and pinned him down. It looked like Huang Quan was done for. I dashed forward, lopped off a couple heads with my blade, then felt a threat from behind. Didn't even look back, just swung my left arm back hard with armor. A screech of metal echoed. My left arm blocked Jiang Yanjun's incoming axe. In those few seconds, hundreds of mech men swarmed the mountaintop. We were completely surrounded. I scanned the enemies coldly and yelled for Huang Quan to get ready to retreat. Jiang Yanjun roared viciously, saying after killing so many of his men, not even a god could save us now. I didn't say a word, cranked the flame demon blade to max. Level 2 mode. At 5,000 degrees, the heat turned the blade into a blood-red glow. The air all around warped from the extreme heat. I spun and dove right into the enemy trucks, put all my strength into swinging wide, slicing with the blade. The sharpened edge and my reach drew a deadly 17-meter radius circle. Every mech inside that circle got sliced in half before they could even scream. They were cut down instantly. Wails of pain echoed across the whole mountain. A wide, deadly vacuum opened up around me. I sheathed my blade instantly and leapt down the steep slope. Huang Quan and the Dang followed, jumping down right after me. The survivors of the Juyu army were terrified by that massive strike. None dared to pursue us. Jiang Yanjun froze on the hillside, staring at the horrific severed limbs, shaking with pure rage. The moment my blade turned red, his survival instincts kicked in. He scrambled back desperately. If he hadn't moved so fast, he'd be among those bloody chunks. A subordinate asked him tremblingly if they should keep chasing. Jiang Yanjun gave him a cold look, swung his battle axe suddenly, and took the poor guy's head off. He roared at the survivors, telling them to clean the field and get out. Night had fully fallen. Inside the dense virgin forest, we vanished completely. Jiang stared at where we disappeared, clenching his fists until they cracked. He swore through gritted teeth that this blood debt he would never forget. We ran through the woods for days, to a small city hundreds of miles away. Hundreds of kilometers in one night. We collapsed, unable to move. I was cursing under my breath, almost died for one crystal. It really wasn't worth it. If I'd known.
It would draw a dozen gunships.
And thousands of motorbots. I never would have moved.
Luckily,
the dark and his greed saved us. We barely escaped alive. Huang Quan was grumbling too, complaining he was a rich kid, now walking a deadly tightrope, and ending up as a fugitive. The Dane pulled out a plastic bag, excitedly saying this job was worth it. Inside were 60 shiny evolution crystals. While we were fighting hard, he scavenged a bunch of high-tier loot, all top grade, second tier or higher, even some fourth tier ones. Just this small bag is definitely worth thousands of normal bot kills, including what we used in battle. We didn't just break even, we hit the jackpot. Huang Quan clutched his scarred back, shouting that he was badly hurt and needed an energy boost. Seeing him riddled with holes, I gave him 20 top crystals. The Dang looked envious, but knew he hadn't done enough. I gave him 20 without hesitation, kept 10 as spares. I swallowed them myself. He did supply us during the boss fight. His contribution was huge. I've always been a fair guy. I won't let my brothers suffer. We were too tired to stay awake, found a hidden spot and crashed. Until the next day. Did we finally recover? We started wandering the city. The town had a survivor base. On the streets, we saw many scavenger squads. But I noticed something. The way those tin cans looked at us was very wrong. Their eyes held fear, mixed with greed and excitement, to avoid any trouble. I decided to ignore them and take the ring road out of here. Before we reached the road, trouble came looking for us. A deafening engine roar followed. Over 200 various motorbots surrounded us completely. Several bike bots aimed their pistols directly at our heads. The lead SUV and a bulldozer mech, actually right in front of us, started bargaining without a care, arguing over how to split the loot, finally settling on the cut. I watched these suicidal idiots. They completely ignored us. The SUV with his numbers arrogantly told us to stay. Surrender the loot to stay alive. We were totally baffled. No idea what he was talking about. The bulldozer called Old Dong threw a ragged bounty paper at me. On it was a massive bounty from Zhang, saying we stole his Balrog blade. The reward was terrifyingly high. My head is 5,000. Wang is 3,000. The dang is worth 800. Find the blade and get another 5,000. A total of 13,800 crystals. That fortune could fund an adult stage bot. Huang Quan read the paper and started swearing. He only cared why his bounty was so low. The dang broke into a cold sweat, complaining it was all slander. I thought it was a dirty move, worse than an official warrant. This huge reward is lethal. It tempts everyone. In this crappy wasteland, countless people would kill for this. They'll take any risk. These greedy outlaws were the best proof. The SUV asked with a sneer if we'd hand over the blade, or if they should take it. Dozens of pistols clicked off safeties, all aimed at our heads. Huan Quan acted like he was giving in, lazily asking if they'd let us go. If we surrendered the blade, they laughed arrogantly. Refused, saying our heads were worth 8,800. No mercy. Huan Quan nodded as if he understood. The next second, his arm turned into a laser barrel. He didn't hesitate with the 200 bots and opened fire. As Huan Quan started the slaughter, these low-level grunts couldn't stand a chance. One burst of laser fire, and they dropped like flies. Those bots with pistols didn't even pull the trigger before the dang popped their heads. In just 5 seconds, the group of 200 collapsed. They ran for their lives. The lead bulldozer and SUV turned to flee. I lunged forward with a heavy whip kick that broke the sound barrier. The SUV's waist armor buckled. I kicked his metal body in half. 2 steps forward with a heavy punch, obliterated half the bulldozer. As for the scooters and bikes, I didn't bother chasing. Not enough scrap to matter. The dang started harvesting crystals. Huan Quan picked up the paper. Frowning, he said Jiang's reach is long. The paper reached even here. No wonder this morning the choppers kept buzzing around. I pointed at the corner and reminded him testily. Look closer, you idiot. This is from the White Dove Group. Huan Quan muttered. The name sounds familiar. I told him. It's the old Natatong Express. They've branched into Intel and media now. Looks like they're doing well. Huan Quan flipped through the paper. Found more than just our bounty. Dozens of recruitment ads too. Even an imperial guide on bot evolution. His eyes widened, marveling at White Dove's business. Anyone advertising here must be filthy rich. Even if the paper is cheap, with millions of bots, if just 1 in 1,000 buys it, it's a massive profit. This near monopoly will make them a fortune. Quan asked anxiously. White Dove Group is loaded. Helicopters are all over the sky. This bounty must be posted everywhere in the Empire by now. So what do we do next? I paused in silence for a while. I sneered, saying people die for money and birds for food. That bounty is huge. Even I feel tempted looking at it. With things like this now, hiding won't work anymore. Unless we run off into the deep mountains and leave as wild men forever. Huang Quan clicked his tongue anxiously. He asked if I had any plans. I grinned slightly, kept it light and said it's easy. Take out the one who posted the bounty. The bounty will be gone by itself. The dang swallowed hard in fear. He stammered, asking what on earth I want to do. I replied coldly, saying I never let grudges go overnight. If Zhang Tianyang went this far for me, he's got to be ready to pay for it. Let's strike back while they don't expect it. Huang Quan's voice started to shake in fear. That's the governor of Yangcheng, a warlord with a huge army. Are you really going to go head-to-head with him? Without hesitation, I spat out yes. In this messed up apocalypse, if you want to survive, you have to be tougher than anyone else. I may not have power right now, but I'm always ready to flip the table. The one with nothing to lose isn't scared. Why should I be scared of him? The dang nervously raised his hand. He suggested that warlords like Jiang Tianyan must be filthy rich. Let's not go all the way. We just empty his crystal vault. That's enough. Just leave him a way out. In case we meet later. Huang Quan almost coughed up blood hearing this. These two are nuts. One wants to kill the governor. The other wants to rob his vault. Call that leaving him a way out? If we clean out Yang Cheng's treasures, Jiang Tianyan will totally lose it. He'll hunt us to the ends of the earth. But my eyes lit up. I clapped and cheered. Fortune favors the bold. Grinding monsters gets you nowhere. Robbing the vault is way faster. It's decided then. Huang Quan coughed twice, trying to tell us to calm down, saying this is just suicide. I took my time and said, when we finish this job, you can evolve again. Huang Quan heard that and changed his tune right away. He cursed out loud and yelled, let's do it. If we're doing it, let's go all in. The three of us slipped out of town quietly to avoid all the nasty bugs and snakes in the woods. We took the highway. Before dark, we made it back to the top of the command hill. I looked at the bright lights of Yongcheng miles away. It was like a torch in the pitch-black night. Huang Quan frowned and said, Jiang Tianyan has way too many men. We'd drown in their spit alone. This job is not gonna be easy. The Dane's eyes lit up. He gave a sly laugh and said we could turn others against them. Send trouble their way, he suggested, leading all the nearby iron beasts into Yongcheng. Let them tear each other apart. Then we sneak in during the chaos and empty the crystal vault. Huang Quan strongly objected. He said Yancheng is still home to millions of innocent people. If we bring the beast tide inside, who knows how many would die? That plan's way too cruel. I shook my head, telling Huang Quan he's underestimating Yangcheng's defenses. Jiang Tianyan has hundreds of thousands of troops, plus artillery and helicopters. A regular beast tide can't make a dent in Yangcheng. I made the call. Let's go with the Dang's plan. We'll bring the beast wave outside the city, 'cause chaos, and sneak in during the confusion. The next night, Huang Quan snuck back to the hills south of the city. He told me he already paid a fortune for an informant. Found out the crystals are stashed in warehouse 82, Shangyuan Road.
He looked up at the pitch-black sky
And told us to wait for the Dang signal. Not long after, the roar of a Kawasaki HR tore through the night. The Dang was riding like crazy, racing toward Yangcheng. Huang Quan saw the massive herd of iron beasts behind him and gave him a big thumbs up, said he nailed it, and to lure those monsters. I spent the day hunting over 200 crystals and gave them all to the Dang as bait. The Dang pulled off a perfect tailspin, packing the bike steady at the hill's base.
He ran to us out of breath.
Huang Quan patted his shoulder, smiling, praising him for a job well done. We'll reward you big time later. But the Dang turned around, terrified. Voice shaking, he said he didn't do it. Now a monstrous roaring echoed outside Yangcheng. Iron beasts, as far as the eye could see, with glowing red eyes charged madly. The Dang, totally confused, swore. He only tossed a few crystals. But every monster in the city just went crazy and poured out. Seeing this endless beast tide charging Yangcheng, the bikers left outside, ran for their lives back to the city in terror. I was stunned by this mess. This was way more than 100,000 beasts. Seems like every monster from nearby cities showed up. I grabbed the Dang by the collar and asked what he did to cause this disaster. The Dang, looking wronged, opened his sack. It was still full of top-grade crystals. He hadn't used any at all. He said tearfully that the bait never even got the chance to be used. I gasped. Looks like Yangcheng just got hit with a freak natural beast tide. A once-in-a-century disaster. But this is our golden chance. So I ordered us to sneak into the city in the chaos. By now, Yancheng's main gate was a war zone. Gunfire was deafening. Smoke covered half the sky. Biker troops rushed to hold the line, defending the gate to the death. Hundreds of tanks blasted non-stop on the ground. Helicopter gun barrels overheated in the sky. The iron beasts seemed to be on something, charging without fear, climbing piles of their dead to push forward. Mutant Renaults, longer than buses, couldn't be stopped by missiles. Furious black bears over 20 meters tall could smash buildings with a punch. All sorts of terrifying giant mutants showed off pure brutal power on the battlefield. Yangchen's defenses kept falling back. They had to give up the outer lines. Huang Quan and I shifted into truck form right away. with the defenses stretched thin. We slipped in from the city's edge. We had a clear target this time. Warehouse 82 Shangyuan Road. It used to be a logistics hub. After the apocalypse, it became the emergency crystal depot. The Dang saw the streetlights still on and volunteered to cut the power here, then find a high spot to cover us. I warned him to be careful. This is still a military zone, with heavy security at all times. But right now, the main forces have all been sent to defend the city. Only a few scattered patrol teams are left behind. Huang Quan and I moved through the darkness like ghosts. We silently took out several sentries in a row. Soon we were near the warehouse. At the warehouse entrance, there stood 50 fully armed dirt haulers, all cyborgs. One of the crew was anxiously asking Zhang Zhongjun, the front line's in trouble. Should we go help? Jiang Yan snapped and cursed loudly, saying anyone who wants to die can go ahead. He then boasted proudly that since the front line is a death trap, he racked his brain and used his connections to get his men assigned to warehouse duty. One quick-witted guy instantly kissed up and said, "You're so wise, Boss Jiang. We only got this sweet duty because you treat us as your own." Such a great gig. Jiang Yanjun enjoyed the flattery and gave some advice. He said in their line of work, "Muscle isn't enough. You need street smarts. Rush into everything and not even 10 lives are enough." He pretended to look serious, glancing around. Suddenly he sighed. Then he started bullshitting so earnestly, claiming that during tonight's flood control project, an insider used the chaos to hit the warehouse. They lost a whole 5,000 crystals. That guy was totally dumbstruck on the spot.
He blurted out,
"With you here, Boss Zhang, what idiot would dare mess with us?" Jiang Yanjun's eyes turned vicious in an instant, and he glared deadly at the clueless crewman. The next second, he kicked open the warehouse door. His arm instantly turned into a huge machine gun barrel and pointed inside the warehouse at the 7 or 8 regular armed guards by the inner door and fired a brutal burst. Those poor guys didn't even have time to scream before being gunned into meat by their own man. Jiang Zhongjun coldly pointed at the bodies on the ground and asked that crewman if he still thought no one would rob them. That cyborg was so scared he stuttered and was just about to beg for mercy when another cyborg beside him swung his spiked bat and smashed his head in. The one with the bat walked up to Jiang Yanjun and quickly added, "That must have been a hell of a riot judging by the damage. We must have lost at least 8,000 crystals." Jiang Yanjun looked at the guy with real appreciation, admiring his smarts. He promoted him to squad leader right away. The bastard ordered the team to guard the door, while he swaggered in himself, planning to line his own pockets. Huang Quan and I stared in shock from the shadows. Couldn't believe it.